Hello folks, welcome back to the podcast. This week I'm chatting with LaraMoto all about her life as an engineer, her life within the British Army in bomb disposal, and her passion for motorbikes, and more importantly, racing motorbikes. I really enjoyed this one. Lara's enthusiasm and love of biking is infectious, so sit back and enjoy this. But first, a quick shout out for the podcast sponsors, who are Innov. Now, as you must know, if you follow the main TeapotOne channel, you'll know Innov are a main sponsor over there. They produce motorcycle dash cam systems, both single and multi-cam systems. I currently am running the K5, which is their flagship 4K model. The K3 and K5 series, they both have dual cameras for front and rear. They have external microphones. They have GPS capability to track your route, and onboard Wi-Fi, meaning you can utilise the Innov app to monitor your files, share them, access the settings, everything like that. Folks, if you're ever involved in an accident, the first thing insurance will ask is there CCTV? And if you've got one of these systems fitted, you can turn around and say yes. It often is the difference between a 50-50 claim and a claim going all in your favour. Head to innov.co.uk/TP1. That's INNOVV.co.uk/TP with the number 1, TP1, for more information. If you have any dealings with Innov, please do tell them TeapotOne sent you. It helps me massively for Innov to know the traffic is being driven from the channel. We're also sponsored by Ultimate Add-ons. Now, Ultimate Add-ons are the premium manufacturer of mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for motorcycles. You know the score here, folks. If you listen to the podcast, you'll know this. Ultimate Add-ons have stood by me for many years now. They're not a sponsor of the channel, but they do supply their phone holders and accessory kit. They produce a range of different mounting solutions and cases for mobile phones, but also for action cameras like GoPros and things like that. Their cases keep your phones waterproof, shockproof and dustproof, while still allowing you to use the phone whilst it's in the case. I often get asked what mounting solution I use, and I use their Helix strap mount, which I think is in the bicycle range, but it allows me to connect my phone to just about any bike on the market. In fact, I've always found a way of mounting it to any bike at all, and with that I can then use my LaraMoto app for navigation. Head to ultimateaddons.com and use the code TeapotOne with the number 10, TeapotOne 10 for 10% off. And this episode is also sponsored by the Influencer Store. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design, and there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. Now, the Influencer Store handle all my TeapotOne merch, so if you head to TeapotOne.com, head to the shop, all of the merchandise there is handled by the Influencer Store. I've gone with them because I used to use the likes of Spreadshirt and Teespring and people like that, and I just wasn't happy with the quality of the products. They would sort of disintegrate within a few washes, colours would fade, stickers and things like that would come off. If you've got any of my merch, you'll know that is not the case, and that's why I've gone with the Influencer Store. The quality speaks for itself. And finally, folks, just a massive shout out to each and every one of you who's out there listening and watching the podcast. You've all been a massive help in spreading the word for me, and so far together we've managed to get up into the top 5 all-time biking podcasts in the UK. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, it really is a massive help if you can leave a review. 5 stars is preferable, obviously, and if you know anyone that likes listening to podcasts, please do tell them about Bru Time and send them this way. A massive shout out to everyone over in the clan over on Patreon, patreon.com/TeapotOne, because you folks over there, not only are you supporting the main channel, but you're also supporting the podcast here, and your questions you submit each and every week have become the backbone of the podcast itself. So a huge thank you from me. Okay, folks, let's crack on with this week's episode with LaraMoto. Enjoy this one. Right, folks, welcome back to this week's podcast, and this week we're chatting with LaraMoto. How you doing, Lara?
Awesome, Bruce. Awesome.
Excellent. Lara's a bit nervous, so be nice, be gentle.
Actually, yeah.
I can't believe you're nervous. You're blooming in the army and you race motorbikes.
yeah, but it's a new thing and it's exciting.
Fair one, fair one. Right, I'll tell you what then, to cope with the nerves, how about we crack open the tipples for the evening?
Yes, that I've been chilling this one all day, so I'm quite excited.
Excellent. What you got? Oh, Guinness.
I've gone for Guinness. My dad drinks a lot of Guinness, and I've just developed a taste for it. I think it's quite pleasurable.
Excellent.
Trying to get the proper sound noises, but you can't, in the Guinness adverts where you get
That's right. And we've got to sit here for about 15 minutes waiting for it to settle.
Sorry. I'm trying to
Sorry, don't worry about it. That's a good pint. Oh, look, You can tell you're a seasoned professional at that.
I'm getting
wow. I'd have about 8 inches of foam on the top of that by now. Excellent.
Right. Now we have to wait patiently for the separation, Bruce, I'm afraid.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to be rude. I'm cracking straight on. Slange, to your health.
To you, buddy.
Right. Okay then. Right. Folks, if you've never heard of LaraMoto before, where have you been? Lara, you are a normal person with a proper job, and you also have a pretty exceptional part-time sort of career job, which we'll chat about. And you also race motorbikes, and you're a social media sort of moto vlogger on YouTube and on all the social media as well. A rising star on that. Would that be a fair synopsis?
Yeah, that'd be very kind. Yep. It's definitely the kind of trilogy of my life. I tend to divide it into engineering, army, and motorsport. So it keeps my little Venn diagram somehow in balance.
Well, what I'd normally do at the start is I basically go, what's your name? Where'd you come from? What you do? And I throw the floor open to you. So how about we do that? And then there are a shit ton of questions to go through. You're a very popular person. So there are loads of questions, particularly on my Patreon, for us to go through. So we'll crack on with that as well.
Great.
So, Lara, this is your life. What's your name? Where'd you come from? What'd you do?
So I'm Lara, full name Lara Small, but I go by the kind of handle LaraMoto. I am an engineer. That's my main trade. I spent 6 years at university with an aerospace manufacturing engineering degree, which was a lot of blood, sweat and tears, as it were, but worth it. And that gave me a fantastic career with a big old blue chip company that have looked after me since I was a graduate up until now, and given me a few adventures along the way, including international placements, more motorbike time. I'm an army officer. So I joined the army in 2005 as a cadet, and then never really lost the habit of using my weekends to be in the army. So I became a reservist, and I now have the good fortune of looking after about 30 soldiers in a squadron in Nottingham. And then finally, you're going to get the biggest smiles and biggest buzz out of me when it just comes to two wheels. My dad bought this little bike home when I was 15, and I've just been in love with the feeling of moving on an engine ever since. And that has almost brought everything together now, but all my other bits of life, as in the day job, pays for this kind of stuff. And the army complements it because of the adventure training that they endorse. And now I've become a pretty competent motorbike racer and a massive advocate for riding motorbikes, which I'm sure is something that you and I both share.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. I'm envious. What a life. What an absolute life. Ticking every box going. So you mentioned racing. Do you race for the army? Do you race in the army team?
Yes. So there is. I race for the Army Motorsport Road Racing Team. We race under the club Thundersport GB, who are almost like a feeder organisation for amateur up to pre-BSB level riders. And there is an inter-services competition or race that they created for the Army, Navy, and the RAF to race against each other. At tracks all across the UK, Donington, Cadwell, Brands Hatch, Mallory, Anglesey. And I was selected to be part of the Army team a few years ago, actually, on the CB500. So I was racing that initially. And since I've come back to racing, I now race on an R6. And the amusing thing about the Army, or the inter-services race, is that any bike is allowed. So on a CB500, you can have a great time, but you've still got 50 brake to try and beat 1,000. Whereas now on the R6, I can show a few thous, a few corners here and there. So I'm happy I've got a faster bike. But things happen a whole lot quicker, Bruce. There's a lot more going on. So it's taking some work, but I love the geometry of a race bike compared to the CB, where it always felt like a compromise. I just love the kind of pretending to get my elbow down type style, not actually doing it, but just trying.
You do get your elbow down, don't you? I've seen the pictures.
Yes, I have got my elbow down on it was a Ducati Monster engine. It was a super twin built by Knight Road Racing, a chap called Alan Knight, who's a fantastic engine builder and race manager. And I was at Rockingham before it closed, and there's this amazing corner, I think, Giff Gaff or something. It's kind of a closed helix. It gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And I felt this scratching noise. I was like, shit, scratching's bad. And then I realised it was my elbow, and I just lost
mega. Brilliant.
I come back into the pitch with the biggest smile, I've done it, finally.
I bet that is fantastic. Sorry, wow. You can see your enthusiasm for biking just oozing out. That's awesome. So this all comes from your old boy then, from your dad?
I wish I could say I had some kind of family heritage, but he deeply regrets bringing that motorbike home, to be honest. No, there isn't really an inspiration within the family. It's kind of come from within. And so there was just a lot of adolescent attitude on motorbikes when I was growing up. There was I had my DT125 confiscated and locked in a garage over Christmas. I basically ruined Christmas by breaking into my own garage with the only tool I had available, which was for some reason a stiletto, to get through the window to get my bike out. Parents not amused.
Hang on, you put your stiletto through the window to break into your own garage?
It wasn't like an aggressive window smash. I had to get a lever, and for some reason my engineer brain at the time was like, you need a stiletto for this. It's the only girliest thing I've done in a while.
You better put that Guinness down, otherwise you'll end up smashing up the camera in a second. Go.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
So into services racing, who's the best?
Yeah. Oh, the Army, obviously.
Obviously.
I think we're winning it in the championship. There was, I think there's actually reasonably close, but we're relying on our fastest style riders to kind of be up at the front, and we tend to fill in the slots third downwards. There's a chap called Richard Spencer Fleet. He's again on Insta. He races in the Tri-Options Cup in BSB, and he's also a military racer. He's in the Army. So he usually sorts out our first place. So it's nice.
Excellent. Now, you said road racing. Do you race on the roads as well, or is it short circuit only for you?
Sorry, it's a language perhaps with a team. It's called road racing because it's not off-road, therefore tarmac and on a track.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I have been invited to do my first road race in Northern Ireland.
Wow.
It's not happening just yet because the one I was lined up to do, I think, has been cancelled. But the Patch Road Racing team with Davy Graham have invited me onto their books, as it were, and they've got a Kawasaki 400 lined up to me. If I head over, but none of my friends or family know about this, so at least we've got that.
What a way! Hi, Mum. Yeah, what a way to drop that bombshell.
Figured out how to tell them. Well, I don't think, as complimentary as I am to your podcast, it might not listen to this, so I might get away with it. But, I'm pretty sure the news will break out at some point, but it's not actually happened, and I need to have a serious think because I've got a few crashes in my history. Some I can talk to you about, and some are more visible than others. You can see there.
Wow. Yeah.
But you can, ask me that about in a bit. But I've just got to be really careful because road racing is just less room for error than you might be used to on a track.
Yeah, absolutely. Pardon the expression, Lara, but you've got bigger balls than I do. Well, fair play to you. Good on you. Good on you. Wow. Do you listen to the Chasing the Racing podcast with Chrissy and Dom?
I was fortunate enough to meet Chrissy at Blyton Park. And I do listen to the podcast, but I have to listen to it not when I'm trying to sleep, because as you can probably imagine, when you get the adventure bug or you start planning a trip, you just get wired about it. If I listen to someone talking about their track time or their journey, like my palms get sweaty and you get the blood back. I have to be careful when I'm listening, but yes, I have listened to that.
You should get on. I'll speak with him. Would you go on?
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, this is my first like proper podcast interview, so it would be great to do that with Chrissy as well. Chrissy actually followed me at Brighton because he was offering like tuition, and I didn't recognise him at first, but I saw his like trailer. I was like, and then he just said, "Yeah, I'll offer to follow you." I was like, and then to have this, championship winning rider behind you, like, this is awesome. Yeah. And you're trying to show off, but he's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing at that corner? I don't know, I'm scared. Like,
I'd imagine for me to follow you would be like that, because I'd be looking at you going, this is just a different level. And then there's people I know who I've looked at and thought, my God, they're insanely quick and they've raced. And then they talk about when they've raced with the top level guys and women, and they're just like, it's just like the switch goes, it's a different level. Everyone humbles each other, don't they?
They do. But one of the things that bites you about racing or competition is that you always wish you were faster. And actually, if you take stock of what you've achieved already, it's really awesome. Like anyone who rides, awesome. Anyone gets their first track day novice group, awesome. You've popped that cherry. It's just progression. And you're like, I could be faster. But you've got to find some contentedness with what you've achieved. I think I have to remind myself of that.
That's a fantastic attitude. That is a really good attitude to have. Yeah.
I've only learned that from being burned by it, because you just get obsessed with, milliseconds and apexes and corners. And you're actually like, well, sod this. I'm racing and I should be enjoying this. Like,
Do you know what? You can take that, you can apply that in life, can't you? Because I've I found myself not enjoying this, like what I do for a living now. Now YouTube's my sort of life. It's my job. I found myself almost so focused on trying to grow it and get content and produce content that the enjoyment sort of had disappeared, because I wasn't thinking about enjoying it. It was just like, I've got to film this, I've got to do that, I've got to edit this, plan that. I did find myself going, oh, hang on a minute, you're just going to burn out here if you've got to enjoy what you're doing, haven't you? So I remember I just switched all the cameras off and went for a ride. Just, with no cameras. And it was like, oh yeah, this is why I do it. I'm enjoying this now. Yeah. So I like your attitude towards all that. That's fantastic.
But you have to, you have to go there to come back to then realise. And a lot of the YouTube stuff that I was doing, and I'm still keeping the channel ticking over, but a camera's like a third person, a third wheel. You're always like, I can see this, but what can the camera see? Is my battery charged? What's going on? Have I got enough card, enough space? It's just, you have to deal with this third personality in your life, sharing that with you. And it's kind of slightly detract from how you are in the moment. But it's worth it, because you create the footage that you can share. So there is a balance.
That's it. And then you're also always thinking, is the bloody GoPro actually working? Have you had any nightmares with the GoPro or not?
Not drastically, no. I've heard a couple of your other podcasts where you had issues, but formatting the SD card now and then usually sorts it out. But the Insta360 is really working for me at the moment.
Have you got the new one, the 1X2?
No, just one of the originals, but it
does it, and it works?
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So I had the first 1X and it just wouldn't work on the bike when the revs got up. Sorry, the vibrations got high. Yeah. So when you must get it on the track, but I could never do a track day with it because it just wouldn't work.
So you're totally right. Yes. I got my best footage around the Peak District. I think there's a 50 mile an hour limit, and it was, I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's just beautiful apexes and corners. And I just kept it slow. So I was in it for the footage, not the speed. I tried to, I went on a Knox track day. We were at Alton Park doing a bit of filming with Chopsy.
Chopsy? Is that when you spanked him?
No, he's pretty handy, to be honest.
He is quite quick, yeah.
I took my racing chip out of my head because there's like Lara mode and there's like, you can go into dickhead mode on a track day if you really want to. And I just thought, let's not do that today. And so but the camera was just, the minute I try and open it up on past Cascades, the camera would just flip over. It can't deal with the speed. I think I've got some of my best footage where it's hidden behind the windshield, but I never got around to it. It's all right. You've got to figure out where you want to put it.
You do, and some of the footage that you can get when it all works and it all comes together, the footage on the Insta360 is amazing, isn't it? awesome. It's like having your own film crew almost. It's brilliant.
That's what causes a lot of questions on the Twitter feed. Like, my first number one question is, how did you film that? I was like, on a massive stick out the front of the bike. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. A big lance, isn't it?
Yeah.
I bought one of these. It's like a big belt, like a weightlifting belt, and it's got this attachment that you attach the pole to, so you can get really good third person footage with it.
Yeah.
But I'm such a fat knacker that it doesn't. It's like a Velcro thing, and it's literally just hanging on as it goes around my gut. And the second I sort of try and crouch down, it just goes ping. And that's it. So I've got to lose a bit of timber before I can use it properly. How about we crack on with some questions, Lara, because there are loads, and I'm conscious of time. Okay. I don't want to keep you for the whole evening. Are you all right if we just crack on with them?
Please.
Beautiful. Right. First off, folks, as usual, we'll go across to the clan on Patreon. So that's patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Rob Bignell. Hi, both. Do you have a bias to left or right hand bends? I'm a righty.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think I'm a lefty.
Are you? Are you right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
That'll be why then. I'm left-handed and I favour right-hand bends. I'm assuming that's got something to do with it.
Practically every circuit in the UK is clockwise, so you'd want to be a righty.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I find it a lot easier to put my right knee down than my left. It just feels weird. My body position feels weird to the left, but on the right, I'm comfortable with that. Yeah. Ah, well.
Yeah,
anyway.
There shouldn't really be any difference because the bike is symmetrical. But how we think and how we feel comfortable in a corner clearly varies. But yeah, I think I am a lefty because that was the elbow down corner, and round Cascades, which is actually where that picture's from on the CB. That's a lovely lefty. I like how it feels and sits. So yeah, I need to get better at both. And they've done some training at the California Superbike School, and they try and help you with your body positioning and stuff. And it is an identical setup. It's just it's what's in your head, which often needs understanding.
I saw that actually because I've just done the level 2. And I was just doing my SEO research on it this week, and I saw that you'd done a video on it as well, and Chops has done it, Moto Bob's done it. Like everyone's been along, I think, in the last couple of months. But yeah, I saw you done that one there. How did you get into the racing then? How have you got to the level that you've got? Is it been a sort of an innate ability that you've had at the start and you've worked on it, or how did you get into it?
Slightly arrogantly, I'm going to say yes. I remember riding my first big bike was a Honda CBR 600F, and I went for a demo ride with it was at Moby Dix in Borowash, actually. He sold it to me. They're now a Kawasaki dealership, incidentally. And he came back and he's like, where did you learn to ride like that? And I was like, that's just how I ride. And then I did my first track day, and I was in obviously the novice group. I turned up in a high-vis jacket, still had the luggage rack. Well, they gave me a high-vis jacket because you're a special novice, like a focused event one. And I had the luggage rack on the back for the seat because of touring. And then I started just cutting it up around Gerard, and I was losing the bottom of the hero pegs and my foot pegs. And they were like, what's going on here? You should be moving like a novice. And I was just like overtaking. I don't know. It wasn't it was. I can't remember which Ducati it was at the time. Like maybe an 848 just round the outside of Gerard's. I was like, and that's where the bug happened. And I got inspired by a friend who was like, let's just do it. Let's just go racing. And it's like, I'm going to forget your trademark now, Bruce. Your life, or live it, or
live your life. Yeah.
Live your life, yeah. It was like that. Just, well, go racing then. She got the van, I got the bike, and we just turned up to Brands Hatch on my CB500, which I've done a couple of track days in. And I was lining up on the grid after getting my ACU test. You just have to do some theory and then prove you can do a race start. And then the lights are there, like at Brands Hatch, like I've really seen this at MotoGP. And just the sound of 40 CB500s, and they call it the sound of thunder because it's this deep resonance of a twin, but them screaming on the start line, and then you just like, lights are out, gone. And then it's just like all the way to Paddock Hill Bend, down and up and round. And I got to like the first left-hander, which I can't remember the name of. And I was like, I'm alive. Is it Graham Hill Bend, maybe?
Graham Hill, that's the one, yeah. After Druids.
And that was it. That pill had been taken.
I'm getting the impression you quite like racing. Well, honestly, don't be shy about it. It's awesome. I love it. My mates that all got into racing, they got into racing with No Limits, the No Limits rookie. Is it the Rookie Cup or whatever it is? Yeah. About 3 or 4 years ago. They were all the same. They'd always wanted to do it. And then I buggered off on, how quick we are. Nearly half an hour, folks, and I'm going to mention it. I went off on my world trip and they were just like, right, bugger it. Let's get into racing. So when I came back, they'd had their first season and they were just hooked. And they was exactly what you said. They said it was the start line of the first race, just that whole atmosphere, holding the throttle, waiting for the lights to go on. They were hooked, absolutely hooked. Brilliant.
It does have its lows. So easy, like the best bits. Financially, it just destroys you. It's an addiction. You'll sacrifice food to buy tyres. It's a drug, and there are cheaper ways of getting that high, to be honest. But it's how it feels. It's just you versus your machine on them versus their machine around a circle. It's flipping awesome.
Brilliant. Do you have any sponsors on board then to help with your racing?
I do indeed, yes. So I've been really fortunate to have almost like a lifetime sponsorship from Knox Armour. So I met them when I started racing and they've joined me on my journey so far.
Awesome.
So they've been brilliant, and I fundamentally advocate their kit, partly because I've tested every element of it, including a decent high side at Rockingham that you've managed to pick out for your Insta feed.
Yeah. Quite impressive, quite impressive.
Yeah, the bike incidentally just kicked me off and then went further forward completely unaided and then turned left into the pit wall at Rockingham and just broke its whole thing. That was
good.
£3,000, just saying. And then Fuchs Seal Clean have always stayed on board with me. So oils, lubricants, cleaning products, they just keep sending it, and I obviously do my bit in return for promoting them. So they're my two main sponsors, and then I've got Pipeworks who are sorting me out on the R6 on the pipe, and Slipsprings are doing some front plastic work for me. So it's going really well.
Ah, cool. I had a Pipeworks can on my Gixxer for the world trips. Lovely sound on that. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, and he's probably due to give me a few new sleeves in the near future. So Jeff's
happy days. Good. Right, next one. Rebecca Christie. Oh, she just says, she's ace. Looking forward to hearing this Bru Time. Nice one, Rebecca. Hope you're enjoying it.
Thanks.
Next one, Stuart Bailey. I can only think of one other famous Lara. That is Lara Croft. So, questions for both of you. Do you have any common traits with the fictional Tomb Raider? And if you had been asked to take the leading role in the films, what would you do differently? Well, I think if I was to dress up as Lara Croft, that's taking it down an entirely different niche, I think. What about yourself?
I have actually dressed up as Lara Croft. I think it was either my 18th or 21st birthday. And I've got one of my favourite photos of all time is me lying on my stomach on the dance floor of a club in Jersey with my best friend as Catwoman and Superman sat back of me, just screaming and crying with laughter. But I made the whole gear, the shorts, the tank top, and the thighs, the cool gun thing. But there's two key assets that I'm kind of missing to fully play her character.
The ponytail. You've got a ponytail, haven't you?
Yeah, it's just the ponytail, maybe the glasses. But I played Tomb Raider a lot. I'm sure it was PlayStation at the time. I think she just needs more time on motorbikes, but I'm pretty sure she had a bike in her garage at some point. But yeah, I do my motorbike challenges, I think.
Well, what is it with military people and dressing up? Every single military person I know has a thing. They love to dress up. Whenever they get pissed, it's like fancy dress time. Wherever they are in the world, whatever they're doing, fancy dress.
Yeah, it's a thing, isn't it? It's every military person probably has a fancy dress box. They don't usually declare that they just pull stuff out of. I've got a full-on like tiger outfit ready to go. So
okay.
Just invest in it, basically. It's just a full onesie with a tail and ears and stuff, and yeah, you're sorted.
Wow. I'm not going to ask. Derek Rickett, next one. Hi both. Lara, will you ever race the TT and attempt to break Jenny Tinmouth's amazing lap record time? Yeah, so TT.
Yeah. Yeah. Jenny's really, really, really fast. And
yeah.
The TT is an investment in years of your time, I think. So it would be a phenomenal goal, but it's just how you start that journey and what you're prepared to sacrifice along the way. That's probably a tricky question. So I think I'm probably a little bit intimidated by that challenge in terms of balance. But I think Jenny's probably world record is safe. Jenny's record is probably safe. I'll give it a good go.
I bet. It makes me laugh. And this is, I'm not just saying this because you're on here. I've said it to my mates before, but some bloke's attitude towards Jenny Tinmouth, they're just like, she only got that rate, she only got the ride because she's a woman. And then I remember turning up at Brands for a track day, and the same lads that had been taking the piss out of Jenny Tinmouth, she absolutely spanked everybody up in the fast group. It was just like, as we talked about earlier, it was a different level. It was just a different level of fast. Wow. Impressive.
She would totally kick my ass if we tried to go match up against each other at any UK track, because she's a BSB rider. She's rapid. To achieve what she's done around the TT it's a different level. I'd love to try. But as you know, there's a reality in terms of your life expectancy around that track. It's a lot to take on.
Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Road racing, and then I think the TT it's the pinnacle, isn't it, of road? That or Macau. Have you been to either? Have you ever been to the TT or to Macau?
No. I think I'm definitely letting the side down and having not been there, but I will go.
I've been once, and I was supposed to go. I'm supposed to go back the last 2 years, and it's been put off. Well, I've not been able to do it the past 2 years, but next year we're all set to go next year. So cannot wait. Come over for a good crack. Where were we? Ashley Wright. Hi Bruce, hi Lara. Question for you both. If you were given an unlimited budget and 3 months off work, what would you do? Doesn't necessarily have to be bike related, but if it was, which bike would you choose to do it on? Ooh, nice one. 3 months of freedom, financially and work-wise. Go.
I would. I'd do every circuit in Europe, or the best circuits in the world. So I'd take. I don't know. Probably never be Augusta, but that's because I've got a penchant for like having an F4 or something. But I'd probably take the latest, best sports bike, whatever. Probably S1000 RR, or although it feels a bit boring thinking about it. But or maybe a decent R6, like the latest Yamaha R6, and I'd just try and do all the, like Laguna Seca. I'd try and do all the tracks that I could possibly get my hands on in 3 months over the summer period, and just rinse tires, get sunburned. Good God.
You'd be absolutely fit as a fiddle, wouldn't you? 3 months of solid track time. Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ridden an MV Augusta?
No. But I know I could. I know, but I could. I'm pretty sure I'd be able to work something out with the dealership, and that's how I've been able to get bikes for my channel anyway. So I will get on them. I'll
pass you the detail. Crazy Horse up in Bury St Edmunds. They're really pro with the socials, and I'm sure they'd be very keen. I can pass you their details. They specialise in MV Augusta and Indians as well, and they've got cars. They do some cars as well. But I've taken out the Brutale, and I just took out the Rush, the special edition Rush for the motorbike TV, and I think they're the most stunning looking bikes out there. They're absolutely gorgeous, but they're like typical inline 4 engines. there's nothing till like at least 9,000 revs, literally nothing till about 9,000. And then it's like a switch goes and the thing just takes off. It's just a ballistic missile. So if you ride everywhere in first at max chat, then you'll get some good performance out of it.
It's about, got it.
But as a road bike, it was like, I'd almost prefer to be on a Bandit because at least that's got something to play with on the road, you know?
Yeah.
It's like nothing, go, Millennium Falcon time. But I'll remind me at the end of this, and I'll pass you the details for them. What would I do? 3 months off work, 3 months. I would travel. Funnily enough, I would. I think I would. I didn't get to Mongolia, so I'd love to go to Mongolia. And I didn't do the two extremes of America, so I didn't go right down to Ushuaia and I didn't get to the top of Dead Horse, so I'd love to go back and do them. And obviously there's still Africa because it sort of beat me and I want to go back and finish that. So yeah, I'd travel and I don't care what bike, anything, not fussed. Next one, Roger White. Hello both, hope you're well. If a genie granted you 3 wishes right now, what would you wish for?
3 whole wishes. One of them probably has to just stick with the health of my friends and family. You can't take that for granted. My mum went on a bit of a journey and she's doing good, but it just puts things into perspective of
absolutely
you can have everything you wanted just ripped out of your hands. And so that it's got to be that, you know, there isn't really a choice. And other than wishing for world peace, but let's keep it local.
That'll put you out of a job, wouldn't it? Or a part-time job.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? But there's a lot of investment in hearts and minds before any bullets get.
Absolutely, yeah, very true.
And then secondly, it would just be, I guess the selfish bit of it would be the kind of some level of financial contentedness where I guess I'd ask for money, but it would be enough to just keep doing what I'm doing, but have less of a worry about how big my credit card bill is. That would be nice.
If you had unlimited money, would it change you massively, do you think?
No.
I imagine you're quite a very self-disciplined, well, you plainly are, to do what you do in all aspects of life. You strike me as someone that's very self-disciplined. So, yeah, I don't think you would.
No, I don't see what would change, because I would probably spend more time on 2 wheels, doing more of that stuff and seeing more of the world on 2 wheels. But I could do that now anyway. And my current employer, well, I got deployed with the army and I took a year out of work. I didn't quite make it to Iraq because just COVID kicked in and we were on a mission rehearsal exercise, and then it all got switched off. And I ended up working with a squadron base in the UK instead. But I took a year out and it happened. I made it happen, and I had I had some funds to do it. So I could do the same thing with the funds I've got now to take a year out and do something awesome with that, just like you did. Yeah. Well, not more than a year. It was 442 days or 500.
Yeah, it's about a year and a half. Yeah. I took a 2-year. I was very, very fortuitous in the old bill that we could take up to 5. Well, you can take up to 5 years, but because I was in a sort of specialist department, they limited it to only a year, but they did that after I put my application to go in. So I was granted the 2 years, but I was back after 442 days. What's that? About a year and a half, something like that. Yeah, but I was very, very lucky to be able to do that and have a job when I came home and pay off the credit cards.
Yeah. There's a balance, isn't there? I haven't thought of my third one yet, but I'm going to leave the other 2. You can choose a couple, Bruce, whilst I have a think.
I will do. Just what you were talking about there. What about the current situation in Afghan? Did you think is that going to impact for you?
Great question. As a reservist, they might be slightly changing their policy on how deployable we are. We take a long time to deploy because we just have to be kind of built up. We'd sit at a certain standard, but to be at readiness can vary between 1 week and a year. It won't directly affect me at the moment, but it may trickle down to us in a reserve unit. But the regulars will be dealing with the initial initial contact, as it were.
Yeah. So you work with Mitch, don't you? Aaron Mitchell.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
We're in the same regiment. So he's I think he's a bomb disposal operator. I am the other side of it. So there's a little bit of banter between us and the bomb disposal team, because
So you build it and he blows it up.
I wish, kind of, not quite. I'm trained to find the device in the first place. So I'm a search advisor, and I get trained in the logic of predicting where that threat is likely to be. So I have the hard job of finding the unfindable. It's easy for him because it's there and I told him. But not him directly, but there's just a little bit of banter. But I remember one time I came into the mess and there was some chat being thrown around, and I walked in and they said that no one's interested in the hide and seek champion. Like, they're not interested in us. The sexy bit is the bomb disposal bit, because that's what makes programmed films like Hurt Locker and cool stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a balance to play with the danger of that particular job. But yes, I find he exploits.
Gotcha. Folks, Aaron's been on the podcast, so I can't remember which episode. He's up like a dozen episodes before this one, so check that one out. Aaron Mitchell. And what about Matt? Sorry, go on.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Matt Emery. So I met him at our last, we just spent 2 weeks conducting our annual training event. We have to do 2 weeks continuous training as a reservist. And I met Matt, and we both ended up talking, and I was talking about two wheels, and as you can imagine, he's exuberant about it. And he's like talking about his hobbies, and then he showed me like his pictures and paintings. I was like, WF, mate, these are awesome. And now he's started creating like ones of me, because I showed him a couple of pictures of me riding, and he's already done one. I'll try and find it actually.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on his Insta.
It's just brilliant. And I was just like, how have you even done that? I think he started by teaching like his son to paint, and then realised that he had a talent for it, which I think is amazing.
I never knew any of that. Matt is like a mutual friend, folks, and he joined. I used to work in a public order unit. There we go. Yeah, got you. Yeah, he's got his own style, hasn't he? Is it like oils or something he uses? Oil paintings he does, or something like that?
Yeah, acrylics. Does a fair
acrylics.
bit. He's at, is it Memory Art at Instagram? I just need to check.
I'll pop his link down below, folks, so check it out. Yeah, Matt joined the public order unit, my old public order unit. The day I left was the day he joined, so I didn't really know him then. And then he turned up in the diplomatic side of things. He ended up working at the same base as me. And I think now he's gone for promotion. He's flying up through the ranks now. So he doesn't talk to the mere mortals anymore. No, he's a good boy, Matt. Mr. Potato Head.
Yes, I sent that to you. So
excellent, good. So for me, 3 wishes right now. What would you wish for? Well, I mean, your first one obviously is. I think most people would want that. It's just the health for friends and family. I think selfishly, just financial freedom. I'm not worried about being, as we spoke about, not worried about being massively rich, but just to not have to worry about the mortgage and the bills. That would be awesome. That would be great. To be like TMF, that would be awesome. Yeah. And I think the last one, I think just to, it sounds corny, doesn't it? But you just want to be happy, you just be content, and I am. Yeah. So just stay the way I am, I think, hopefully.
Yeah. And
don't ask for much.
It's true, isn't it? You can control all of that. I think that's the funny thing about wishes, is that they're all in your control. I think I'd probably like, my final wish would probably be quite similar to yours, is learn to appreciate the moment, like with mindfulness and trying to settle and be grateful for what you have. It's just, I'm too busy like next thing, and not letting the settle time. But I don't need to wish for that. I could do that.
Yeah. Enjoying the moment, isn't it? It's something that I'd heard a lot about before and always thought, wishy-washy, hippie bollocks, what's all that? But it's very true. It's like taking the time to actually appreciate what you've got and what you're experiencing now. and get the most out of that, rather than constantly wishing for more and more and more and more. Because you'll never, if you keep doing that, you never attain happiness, do you? Because you're always wanting more and more and more and more and more. So yeah, I like that. Live the moment, people. Live the moment. Cheers for that, Roger. That's very deep. Thank you. Next one, Steve Barron. Hello to you both. When doing a track day or ride out, do you have any rituals or habits that you do? And to Lara, how easy was it to overtake lamb chops at Oulton Park?
We'll get to that question first. Not that easy. Not that easy.
Oh, Alex, don't be kind. Don't be nice.
Like I said, I wasn't there to just be that person because I'm a racer and therefore I'm faster. He held his own, and we were in the advanced group. He's never ridden in it before, and the instructor on the advanced group, for whatever reason, went off at quite a pace. Even I was waking up like, hang on a minute, shit. And we were just talking about doing our sighting laps to get as you just normally do, obviously for health and safety. And he wasn't hanging about. So the first part of the day, I think he was learning. He just started riding the Triumph, which might have been a speed triple. Or the RS, 1200 RS. Yeah, it's a bit handy. And then by the afternoon, he was punching with us anyway. It was great. So he deserves a lot of credit. He could do with a bit more movement and his upper body. I'll give him that. But
he is a big old unit, and he's old. He's about 95, so you know.
His use of a sweat raggy towel, wonderful, really sexy. That so.
I'm out with him tomorrow. We're filming something for his channel tomorrow, so I'll pass on your regards. Don't worry. Right, so track day rituals, or when you're out on the bike, got any rituals or habits?
Yes, so I have to wear my dog tags. Partly because of a race requirement. You have to wear your name and your blood group and your date of birth just for identification. But that dog tag also has now on it a cross my mum gave me. I don't feel particularly connected to religion. However, she gave it to me. It's already broken because I crashed on it. So it's now half a cross. But it's still there and it's still on.
Maybe it did its job.
It did its job, maybe so. It's also got a little jewellery of Donington Park on there, hooked on it, and it's got these two random bits of gimmicky angels that reminds me of my boyfriend. So I wear that.
Oh, is he Robbie Williams?
No, they just came out of a little gift pack from a race I did, and I just kept them because I thought they were cute. So yeah, that's always around the neck, wherever I am. And then I've got left and right footed socks, ski socks, and they have to be on the left and right foot.
Really?
Don't know what, just have to be. Yeah. That's it.
Wow. I don't think I do at all, to be honest, Steve. I make sure my batteries are charged, and that's about it. Just off we go. Got my phone. Off I go. That's it. Sorry, boring. Next one, Johnny Hackinson. Hi, Lara. My question, how can I convince my wife that we should sell everything we own and then spend the next 5 to 7 years riding a proper motorcycle, not a GS, around the world? How'd you do it?
Well, do you have to go full send? Is the only option that aggressive?
I think for Johnny, yes. I think that's what he's setting his sights on. He wants to, him and his missus. I'm assuming it's him and his missus. I'm assuming it's him and his missus just going to sell up and go. But obviously, I'm not sure she's quite aware of that yet. So, from a woman's perspective, what would be the best way to approach this?
Not necessarily a woman's perspective. A relationship is based on teamwork. And if you're going to communicate such an extraordinary plan to his other half, then he's going to have to communicate and do it such a good job of it that it seems like a great idea. It might be better to rationalise it into less of an aggressive trip and something where I'm just going to go for 3 months and see how we get on without switching your whole life off and selling everything. So I think there also has to be a win-win out of it, where she can get what she wants. Is she riding her own bike? Is she going to be subject to being on the back of his, or would she feel empowered if she had her own license, assuming she does, and could also ride together, and then you both share it and you're a team that way? So that's that edge. I'd go for it. It's a mutual benefit rather than let's sell everything because I want to go riding.
Do you know what they say? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's totally true, isn't it? Because that all makes sense, but never in a million years would I have thought of that. Never. Like, you're talking to me and I'm like, yeah, I can see the logic in that. Yeah. I didn't think of that in the slightest. Not one iota. There you go, Johnny. I don't know. God, I mean, sheesh. I suppose I would probably eventually get round to doing something similar to what you said. But I think it would take me quite a while and quite a few arguments and smashing my head against the wall to figure it out, I think. Yeah. It didn't just lay itself open like that, the way you said it. I was just, oh yeah, it does make sense. Okay, right. There you go, Johnny. What Lara said, do that.
Good luck.
Good luck. Next one, Pete English. Now Pete has a bit of a reputation for his questions. So let's see what he says here. Fantastic to have Lara on the podcast. And sorry I missed posting a question last week, Bruce. No worries at all, Pete. Hope you enjoyed Ireland, pal. Next question. Did you know the first person to be charged with speeding was Walter Arnold, an English gent from Kent? In 1896, Arnold was spotted going 4 times the speed limit. I didn't know that at all, Pete. Thanks. My question to you both. Have you ever gotten off with getting a ticket, and how close have you been to losing your license? That's a yes then.
Oh dear. I'll just be honest. I have 9 points on my license. It's not good.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, I think I'm just down to effort. No, I'm not proud of it, to be honest. I think it's just gone back down to 6. I just bought my new car, and so none of my speeding offences have been ever on a motorbike, because the minute I started testing my limits on a bike, I was like, I need to go to a track, because it's not just speeding that's going to ruin my day. It's going to be someone else, a sheep, a tractor. I'm going to be in the back of a truck, and I just went racing. So a lot of my naughtiness on the road stopped immediately. However, my
officer.
it has. I genuinely stand by that.
I believe you. No, I believe you.
Yeah. But I'll drag and enjoy a corner that will be a little bit hangy offy, but I will be within the limit, within reason. But the car stuff. I bought a Mercedes SLK 55. My other half came up with the idea because I was in the market for a new car, and it's a V8, and I really love the noise of that car, like a lot. Like I start it up in the morning, because it's parked up next to the garage. It just reverberates, and I do a little wee. I'm happy. So I'm done. Just love that car. And I made a mistake. I was in a really bad mood. I had to do some army training for a horrific competition that I was about to compete in. Incidentally, we're the highest scoring all-female team to do it, but we had to do training beforehand. I didn't want to be there because it was going to be muddy, wet, horrible, stinky, rainy, and army training. Get over it, love. But I was just grumpy, and on the way there, I went round and roundabout onto a dual carriageway, and it was a 50. I mean, who was a 50? And I did something like this, very naughty, and there was just a mobile van doing its job, and I was like, my whole world imploded. And that's why I have 6 points on my license. Very naughty.
You got 6 points for that?
Yeah. But that's because speeding kills, and people shouldn't speed. And it's weird, but I race on the track because I want that itch, and I do it less on the road. Anyway. But
I hate mobile speed cameras. I don't think that's got anything to do with safety. And this is from a former copper. They just really piss me off. Really piss me off. It's just they're money-making ventures, that's all. But anyway, never mind. 9 points go. You need to be a bit careful then. When do they come off?
Three's come off now, and the 6 will come off next year.
Oh, so nearly there. I had 3 points on my license, and then they came off last year. And I was like, happy days. I got done for 79 in a 70. 70 bloody 9 in a 70. Arsehole. Average speed cameras did me for 79. Leicestershire Old Bill. Thanks very much. Cheers to that. But anyway, yeah, so I got 3 points and they came off. Happy days. And then I'd just done some filming with Sports Bike Shop and I was going up to Hull. We were doing a Patreon meetup with all my clan lot. And I got done again by a mobile camera. Wow. I don't even know what road it was, but I got done at like 80 something. So I got another 3 points. Like, brilliant. Thanks very much. Hate them. What was the question? Have you gotten off with speeding ticket? I did actually once. I got off with a speeding ticket once, which could have been incredibly serious. And now I'm out the Old Bill. It doesn't really matter. I was in the Old Bill. I was a probationer. I'd not been in long. And I was going up to Scotland to pick up my son. His mum and I had split and I'd moved down to London to join the Old Bill. So I had to pick him up on a Friday evening from his nursery. So I was bombing. I'd finished the night duty and I was bombing up the M6 to pick him up. And I got tugged well into triple figures by Strathclyde Old Bill. And they were almost like, have you ever seen the comedy sketch on Scotch and Rye where the bike copper comes over and pulls the goggles off and says, all right, Sterling, out the car? They were like that. Yeah. And I just had to beg and plead basically and tell them that, I was going to pick my boy up and I was in the same job. I did everything that you're not supposed to do. And they were just like, oh, so you're Metropolitan Police, are you? I was like, And he said, why did you not join Strathclyde then? Why didn't you join a Scottish one? And I just thought, I'm done. But they were good as gold. They basically said, right, pick your boy up, slow down. So they were brilliant. Yeah, they did me a massive favour.
Isn't that credit to the human element Absolutely. Of the person behind the camera? That reality check.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is why I hate mobile cameras, because there's just, you can be like 1 or 2 miles an hour over that. You get a leeway, don't you? 10% plus 2, generally. You've got 10% plus 2 on your speed. And you could just be like 1 mile an hour over it, and that's it, you get done. Whereas with somebody there, it all depends on the attitude and the circumstances and the manner you're driving. But yeah, again, it's contentious, isn't it? Some people love them, some people hate them. Yeah. Right, that'll do us with that. Okay. Are you okay for time at the moment? That's an hour we've been on. You all good? Lovely.
Yeah, I'm happy, buddy. Really happy.
Lovely. Next one, Mark Fulcher. Hey, up me ducks. Fantastic guest to have on the podcast. Mark likes his racing as well, actually. A couple of questions for you both. If you lined up a random selection of, say, 100 bikers, do you think you could pick out the GS riders? What would be the biggest giveaway? Mark, just give up, man. Buy a GS, would you? Just buy a GS.
Oh, dear.
Can you pick out GS riders in a lineup?
Yeah, because they're usually wearing the BMW onesie, the textile onesie.
It's true. High vis and a beard. Wankers. Yeah. Secondly, do you think the GOAT will deliver his own baby, being a doctor and all? Yes, fantastic news, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, I did see those public pictures. Looked really awkward, to be honest.
Yeah, it did a bit, didn't it? Yeah. Because there were quite a few questions. There's a lot of rumours about Valentino, wasn't there? And yeah, oh well, fair play to him.
Proud of him, but yeah, I hope everything goes well. But those pictures just look really set up. It didn't look like a natural happy couple, celebrating life. It was just like, I'm just going to put a stethoscope on your stomach and smile weirdly.
He does strike me. Weird. I've never met Valentino, and I've got absolutely no grounds for saying this in the slightest. But he kind of strikes me as somebody that would be very guarded and private about his own private life. Like, he's so in the public eye, isn't he, for his racing and sponsor work and everything like that, that I kind of think you'd maybe be the other way with regards to your own private life, and you just keep that very private.
What's the only thing you can control? Everything else you do when you leave your door is outside of your control when you're that public.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that bloke he's been at the very top flight for decades, hasn't he? Yep. It's weird to think he's not going to be GP next season. Oh,
it is weird.
Have you ever met him?
No.
Never?
No. You feel like you know him.
Yeah.
But Oh, you don't. He's probably going to do the circuit, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know, like our British superbike riders do. He's still got money to make, and he's still got a lot to pour into other people with his obviously race management. So that's really special. And he'll be
definitely
flat tracking anyway. He's got his ranch, so I'll keep him amused.
That looks mega, doesn't it? Brilliant, that place.
I'm definitely going to sideline you a little bit because I've listened to a lot of you getting uncomfortable about going off road, and I felt exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I turned up at Pete Bo's champion flat track school in Market Raisin and sat on this little 100cc Honda CRF and got told to ride around in a circle. I was like, what? This is easy. And honestly, I have not had so much fun on a bike in a long time. Like, obviously I like racing in the big circuits and the flow and the ebb of that, but honestly in this little relatively large hangar on these little flat track bikes, just trying to get them over and get them to slide, and the consequences are rather slim, is just brilliant. I've really enjoyed that a little bit of off-road experience. So the flat track scene I think is growing in the UK, and I can't recommend it enough.
I've had a couple of people contact me saying, would you be interested in doing it? And I was always like, yeah, absolutely. But just nothing's ever come of it. Nothing's ever happened. And on my trip, I, through a real fluke of circumstance, ended up going to Colin Edwards' Texas Tornado Boot Camp in Texas.
Yeah, nice.
Literally, it was just a fluke occurrence on Twitter where he said, well, when you get to Texas, give me a shout and come along to the camp. So I just, okay, I will. So I just DM'd him and said, well, I'm in Texas, do you fancy meeting up? And he was like, yeah, cool, I get back from Sepang on Friday, come along. So I got to go there, and I didn't end up riding the bikes. I just sat and got steaming drunk with him, and it was his birthday. We had a great time. Lovely fella, really, really nice guy. But yeah, I quite fancy doing the old flat tracking. Looks good. Looks a good giggle.
Okay, I will try and return the favour then, because there's some level 1 schools that I know he'll be running in the winter season, so I'll sort it out.
Oh, mega. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Nice one. There you go, folks. You're going to see me. I was going to say you're going to see me in the dirt, but that sounds a little bit weird. You'll see me doing a little bit of off-roady sort of tracking.
Yeah, but it's like it's compacted mud, so it's not like off-road like motocross. It's a, funny enough, flat track.
Track.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And you just ride inside a hangar and you learn so many bike maneuverability skills. And I won a race recently in the wet, and that's the fastest I've ever ridden in the wet, because I got used to a little bit of movement and like just a little bit of wiggle, nothing serious, and you apply the power and it's fine. But all that training with Pete Bo's school, and also at Ride and Skid It on Buxton Raceway, they were doing flat track sessions there. It's just helped so much. And I go back on the road, and yes, it's wet, but I'm just used to a little bit of slip and slide, and any road rider would benefit from that. Anyway, can't advocate that sport enough. And it's cheap, like really cheap. Compared to big track racing, it's a bargain.
Sounds ideal. Yeah, I'd love to give that a bash, definitely.
Cool. So
nice one. Thank you very much. Next one, Tony Hannum. How you doing, Tone? Hi, question, and welcome to you, Lara. Hope you're both well. My question, Lara, have you ever had people that have come up to you and said, hi, mate, then realise you're a woman when you remove your lid? And how does that make you feel? I asked because I did it the other day, and she just smiled back, but I was very embarrassed.
Oh. Okay, so I've got a little funny story, but nothing too serious. So when I was at university, I worked for a company called Scooterman, which is a small monkey bike chauffeur service that takes you, collects a client in their car because they've driven to the location. They've planned to drink, so they put the bike in their car and then you drive back. And I've had a few, I was working in Bristol and Wales at the time, and because I was at uni there, and there were a few moments where I've taken my bike helmet off and they've gone, oh, right, yeah. And a little bit old school, one of them was like, you're going to drive my car? I was like, yes, yes I am.
Really?
And another little giggle I've had is I was riding an awesome friend of mine, John Skelton. I was riding his Suzuki S-Rad because he's won loads of championships on it, and it was kind of sat in his garage doing nothing. So he let me do a few track days and race in it last year. And the amount of had a couple of people come over to me after I'd ridden it like round Darley Moor, and they were like, "Is that a 750 in there? Is it?" I was like, "No, it's 600, just like yours."
Yeah. Well, just because you were spanking them.
Maybe, but that's still, I guess, yeah, maybe. But yeah, so I've had the helmet off. It is a bit of a giggle, but I've noticed it much less now because, especially in the leathers, you can tell I'm a woman. So it's not so bad.
Shall we get into this? How do you feel the current motorbike world treats a female rider? Do you think it's improved from what it was?
Let's have a think. I've got a few stories on both sides of the argument. The reality is there's 50% of an untapped market who's going to buy your products. Going to buy your products because they suit different figures, male or female, because of the ride height and the speed or whatever people want out of their rides. And so there needs to be more attention paid to women and other riders that don't ride. But I also have been aware of a few people that still feel a little bit intimidated, or women that might feel intimidated by all male groupings, not deliberately and not the guy's fault, but sometimes it just happens. So there's been a lot of success I've seen in having women only ride outs to bring people together. And that's been really good. So I think there's still a journey to go on until you can turn up to it's all 50-50, then we're not quite there yet. But and I would like to see more women, less pillion and more with their own steeds. So it's getting better. So I think there's a recognisable market for it. But I get tired, and I don't know if I didn't notice so much on yours, Bruce, but I get tired of listening to podcasts where they talk about racers or riders and it's always male. And I don't want to get on a soapbox about using the right pronouns because it's not what this is about. But I'd like it to have a more neutral language so people feel more included.
But I think that will happen when there's more of a balance and there's more sort of high profile female riders that come through. And, you know, Jenny Tinmouth's obviously flying the flag massively. Oh God, I totally forgot. That's just terrible. I've forgotten her name. Big TT rider. What's her
Maria
name?
Costello.
Yeah, Maria. Oh, Maria, I'm so sorry. Total mind fart there. I do apologise. That's exactly what I mean.
Rider, isn't she? Yeah, she's kind of everything.
Oh, it's amazing. Stunning rider. But, you know, I think when we start seeing, because that's really only the two high profile ones that I can think of, certainly in the domestic championship. But once you start having more, sorry?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Once they start having more female riders who are up there competing at that level, then that will change, won't it? And that obviously that can only happen, can't it, when more women get into the sport and therefore work their way up to the higher level. So in time it will happen.
So I was there's a few really promising some female talent coming through with Thundersport at the moment. They're on I think they're calling it Moto 3, but essentially Kawasaki 400s. And there's some proper handy girls in there. And the more parents decide that they're going to put either one of their offspring, male or female, on a bike and start sending them through that journey, the more talent is going to rise its way up to the top. I'm going to carry on doing my bit of just racing good and trying to represent my species, but I'm also going to do that with a fantastic competition that is not gender biased in any way. It's just like you and your machine, which is my favourite bit about it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it really is, isn't it? It's down to you and the machine at the end of the day. So that's it. Going back a little. Sorry, what was that?
We might have one advantage on a bike, but I haven't really. No way is it tested. But we have a lower centre of gravity, so fundamentally that's better for physics.
All right.
So I think that's only to our advantage in flicking some weight left to right as well.
I'm not going to argue. Going back a little bit, you know, on like women only track days, I got to admit that grips my poo a bit, because I'm nervous when I turn up at a track day. And I remember my first track day, I was shitting it. Yeah. I felt really intimidated. And effectively, that's a bloke-only track day that I went to, because there were no women on it. It was just blokes. But I wouldn't... For me, I mean, maybe I'm different, I don't know. But for me personally, it doesn't make any difference to me. I'm not bothered if there's women there, if there's not women there. It just doesn't bother me. But then I suppose... I'm a bloke and I'm not in a position a lot of women find themselves in. But You know, I feel intimidated when I turn up at a track day. When I've turned up to do off-road stuff, I'm totally out of my comfort zone and feel terrible. So I can sympathise what it must feel like. But to the same extent, I kind of think, just crack on. Just get on with it. Just do it. You know, you've got to have, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for a woman, can I? Because I'm not in their shoes. Well, I mean, does it help? Does it attract more women in? Do you think women feel more comfortable going along for a women-only event?
Yeah, I'm nodding with the noise that I should be making a noise for this audio feed. But yeah, but that's because that's my network and that's my community. I think for perhaps the right reasons of less testosterone heavy environments, there might be that more women feel like they would consider doing a women only track day. But it's getting a bit dated very, very quickly in 2021. And you've already discussed this possibly with username Kate. And a novice day is probably going to be the right way you approach it, or first track day. That's going to be the language that's probably more relevant now. And there's also, it's worth, again, it's stuff like the California Superbike School, which puts everyone on a level playing field really from the get-go, because it's not a track day, is also worth considering as well. But it's worth having a few track days or some decent road riding under your belt before just turning up to one of those, because you have to at least ride well in order to develop and realise what you're doing wrong in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. As I was saying that, I was thinking about the track days, and I thought to myself, just as you started talking, I thought, you know, track days, there is a lot of dick swinging going on a track day, isn't there? There is a lot of testosterone flying about in there. There's, especially before that first session. And then everyone goes out and has the first session and kind of sees what levels people are at. And it does calm down. Certainly in like the novice intermediate levels that I do, it sort of calms down as the day goes. And people bin it.
Yeah, they do. The ones that with the egos probably will bin it, and I've seen it happen. And once they're out the way, then the afternoon's all yours.
That's it. There's always a lot more room in the afternoon, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is.
Right, last question on Patreon. Martin Rowe. Okay. Hi, Bruce and Lara. I hope this podcast finds you well. A question for both of you. With all things you both have accomplished, is more experiences have not been fulfilled? So I'm just trying to read this. With all the things you both have accomplished, I think there should be a there in there. Is there more experiences that have not yet been fulfilled yet? I ask this as it goes along the theme of live your life. Also, as Bruce mentioned that he's been around the world. Yes, Martin, I have already. Thank you. Cheers. So what has yet to be achieved for you then in life?
I was worried that you were going to come to this question, like what's going to happen next. I'm actually ramping down a little bit and to find a level of moderation. I would like to win another podium on my bike. I'd like to do that, and that's going to take years of effort and training and money and tyres and investment and crying and hard work, but I'm going to get there. Army-wise, I'm progressing quite nicely. But I guess, and then work-wise, that's also really good. So there's a balance. I think I am actually running out because I can't quite picture what Lara in 5 years looks like. So I'm struggling to answer that one. I'm going to go.
Wow.
I'm going to hand the buck to you, Bruce, because I can't quite see it. I want to have a good laugh with the other half and enjoy riding my bikes in balance with the other two disciplines. Yeah. That's it.
God, me in 10 years. God, I'll be nearly dead. I'll be 50, 54, 55 by then. God, me in 10 years. I hope that by then I've sorted my gut out and I've lost some timber, because that's a never-ending battle these days. I hope I've got a work-life balance by then, because I'm still struggling with that. Sort of, I either don't do enough work or I'm just neglecting my missus and my mates and not spending enough time with people. And I hope in 10 years' time I've eventually got that blooming YouTube plaque. I'd love to just have that, just get that, just have that 100,000 put that in the toilet, job done then.
You're not far
I think, well, I've got a long way to go. Yeah, where am I? 50 odd thousand at the moment. It's, that's been 9 years to get to that. So it's a long way to go.
You're over halfway.
Yeah, nearly. Well, yeah, I am, of course, yeah. I think for me, just... Sorry, go on.
No, but think how much you have achieved by that. Like, it's a human problem where we're like, I want the next thing, but you've got 50,000 subscribers. Yeah. I mean, that's no mean feat. I've got like 2.5. But I'm happy with that. So it's just relative, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we chatted about earlier, wasn't it? Is that being content with what you have, because otherwise you're constantly aiming for the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. And you never will achieve that sort of eternal happiness that you're going for, because you always want more, don't you? I need to live by that a lot more, definitely. But the YouTube thing, I don't know how you found it, but it does become almost all-encompassing. It can grab you where you're totally fixated by your subscribers, your views, the thumbs up, the thumbs down, and it's crazy. It's ridiculous. I'm a grown man, and it's like, oh, people don't like the video. Oh no.
Yeah, but it's you created it, and you've got enough evidence to prove that almost 100% of them do like the video. It's totally normal that you'll pick on the ones that aren't so favourable. But we don't need to spend any airtime on those. Let's just celebrate.
That's very true. Yeah, I do like your attitude towards that. It's very true. Yeah, you should pick what you take notice of in terms of the questions and comments for sure. Right, that is the Patreon ones done. Are you all right? Have you got time if we fire across onto Instagram? There's a couple on Instagram and Facebook.
Please, totally happy.
Beautiful, lovely job. So we'll go across onto Instagram. So that's at TeapotOne Insta. I'll put all Lara's links to all the socials and YouTube and everything down below as well, folks. So we'll cover that at the end. First one, Nick in Knutsford. Question for Lara. Do you like men with... Oh, you've already answered this. Do you like men with beards? Upside down faces all the way was your reply.
Yeah, pretty much. No, the other half has designer stubble, so that's what I'm going to go for.
Cracking work. Let's have a look here. So I never pre-read the questions, so I'm just looking through here. What else have we got? It's just a lot of people saying that they're really looking forward to the chat with you, so that's great. Moto Kasumi, can't wait for this one. I met. Well, I didn't really get a chance to chat with her, but I did a wheelie school with Moto Kasumi. Great. She was there, but we never really had a chance to chat. Who else have we got here? Last one, Rob O. Sorry, go on.
No, she's awesome. And again, another one worth a follow. Another one kind of leading the way with inspiring women riders. Like his name Kate or Ribby Rides. It's all good crew on there.
Yeah, I've had a chat with obviously you've heard. I had a chat with Kate. She's a cracking lass. A really good laugh. Yeah, and she can ride a bike as well for sure.
She can. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
We keep chatting about doing like maybe a collab vid or something like that, because she's obviously she's now got the GS as well. So maybe get the two of them on track. Bit fun. I'll get my arse handed to me. Right, Robbo, that'll be a cracking chat. Two people who protect their nation. Well, thank you very much, Robbo, but not me anymore, mate. I've left, so it's all over to Lara.
Okay.
Right, so that was them on Insta. Facebook, there are some on Facebook actually. So TeapotOne on Facebook. We have Chris Wakelin. Hi, Bruce. This is Chris who came to do my garden gates. How you doing, Chris? He's a gardener down in Ashford, and he came and put my gates up in my house. Cheers, Chris. Hi, Bruce. Been working my way through the podcast. Absolutely love him. I'd like to ask you both the following question. What has been the scariest moment on two wheels whilst riding at night?
Yeah, I saw this one, and I knew immediately what my answer was. And it was, I was working for a scooter man job, and I was in at the back of like Bristol Airport, some random back streets, having dropped off a customer, and I was on this 90cc semi-automatic Jin Cheng, I think, and it has like about the power of a candle to illuminate your way. It's terrible. But it was a dry day, and I was in this tiny little country lane, like quite well overgrown, and a badger, an actual badger, jumped out in front of me and then cantered with me on my bike, and I was like, it's a badger. Like, for some reason, I was highly intimidated by this much smaller being.
They're vicious.
Exactly. And I looked at the speedo, and I'm sure I saw like 15, 20 miles an hour. I was like, I'm scared. And so I just didn't want to move. I was just following this badger that was cantering along this lane. So I would say that's quite high on my scariness radar.
It's always wildlife, isn't it? I've had deer. I've had a couple of deer just run across the road in front of me. Oh, that's a nightmare. My mate Jimbo, actually, he hit a deer. He was on his R6, and he hit a deer at like full pelt, but he went through it. He must have hit the sweet spot, and he literally cut the thing in two. Yeah. I mean, he's so lucky because that kills people, but he just went straight through it like a knife. Yeah. I think my scariest one at night has actually been, sorry to bring it up, but on my world trip, I was all windswept and interesting. I was in Russia, and I was riding into the night, and I was just, I need to find somewhere to camp, to stay tonight. And it was all, they hadn't surfaced the road, so it was just like sand and gravel and everything. But there was a forest off the road. So I thought, that's for me. I'll go in there. So I've gone into this forest, and I found somewhere to pitch the tent up. And it's pitch black. So I just whacked the tent up because I'm in the forest in the middle of blooming Siberia, and it's late at night. I thought, I'll just leave everything on the bike. So, my wallet, passport, everything is on my tank bag just next to, I'm in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle, China. I could see the Chinese border from where I was. I'm in the middle of nowhere. And, I just went to sleep, and then I was woke up by all these headlights and all these like gruff Russian bloke voices. I was like, oh God, what is going on here? So I could see with the torchlight that they were right next to my tent, and they were round the bike. So I was like, oh, I've got to do something. So I sort of unzipped the tent, came out, and I'm in my boxers because it's blooming hot. It's really hot as well. So I'm now in my boxers, surrounded by all these Russian geezers in the middle of nowhere. Looking back, probably not the best thing to have done, but I just sort of gave my thumbs up and went, all right, everything okay? You all right? And one of the guys spoke English, and he said, oh, you're English? And I was like, no, it's Scottish. And like the whole thing changed. And he was like, Scotsman. He was like, what are you doing? So I told him, and he basically said, we're here to build the road. So he said, stay here, sleep. We'll leave you alone. We'll do what we need to do round about you. And but we're going to be working all night. Sorry if we interrupt your sleep. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just went to sleep, and I was aware the ground was shaking like heavy machinery. When I woke up in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I undid the tent, stepped out, and this beautiful forest that I went to sleep in had totally gone. They'd leveled everything apart from like a diamond shape right round where me and my bike was. And that was it. Literally just no forest anymore, just open, flat, boggy mud. So I had to get on the jigsaw and ride off, and they were shouting, wheelie, wheelie. I was like, no, you're all right. That's the most adventurous thing that's happened in an evening for me. Next one, Christopher Hertz. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Lara. Question. As an engineer, do you prefer metric or imperial units?
I was giggling about this recently because I'd sent my R6 off to a chap called Sam Malenko, or Sam's Dyno in Burton-on-Trent. And I was sending him the valve clearance tolerances that I was after, and he'd given me a sheet back with he'd drawn all the valves on, obviously, inlet and exhaust. And they were like these really weird numbers. I was like, why is he working in microns? Like, why? There's no way the tolerances are that tight. And then I realised he's American, it's imperial. So I prefer working in metric just because I've just grown up with using microns and millimeters, and it just makes more sense to me. And I don't like getting my head around thous. But when my American ex-world champion speedway rider Sam Malenko is doing my bike, he can do it in imperial. Yeah, he can do whatever he likes. Yeah, pretty much.
Next one, Emma Harding. Can you ask Lara why the British Army keep losing all these Oh, God, sorry. I didn't pre-read this. Can you ask her why the British Army keep losing all these wars, even with all the tax money we waste training them, please? Cheers for that, Emma. Thanks very much. Delete. Barry Day. How did Chopsy go at the ride day? Well, we've already had a chat about that, haven't we?
Very handy.
He does all right. He is. He genuinely is. I've never ridden on track with Chopsy, but on the road, he's a handy rider, definitely. He's on the S1000RR tomorrow, and I'm on my tractor. And we're doing a bit of a voyage tomorrow, which will be on his channel. So I'm looking forward to that.
Enjoy.
Next one, John Skelly. Rorsch. Do you know John?
Yes, I do.
What's he saying? Rorsch wants to know. Rorschach wants to know when Lala is coming to visit as she misses her tummy tickles. Oh, yes, there's a picture of you with a cat on your shoulder.
Brilliant. Thanks, Skelly.
Yeah.
So, Skelly's awesome. He's like 12 minutes down the road and he's got his own workshop that he built himself, like lathe, pillar drill, washing station, welding equipment. He's now building an aircraft. And I literally go cap in hand, like, I need a thing, help me. And I would have tried to engineer it in my own garage and somehow fucked it up. So I just end up taking bits to him. But he taught me how to, I've learned a lot of my motorbike knowledge from him, like almost like working together, stripping down a CB, building back up again, and loads of stuff on the S-Rad. The last time we were there together, we were trying to pull a pipe apart with a lot of aggression and innuendo. It was good.
I'm just looking at this picture and there's a bike in the background. That's not your bike, is it? The red one?
Is it red?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That might have been the S-Rad, Skelly's bike that he let me ride. They're gone now to a new and better home. But yeah, he rebuilt a Suzuki Katana, original one, made it fuel injection. Oh, yeah. It's just mint. And he let me ride it. And oh my God, the clocks, those kind of counter moving, whatever the right word for it is, there's clocks on it. And you just feel like a legend because you sat in a Katana. I was like, this is awesome.
I've not even ridden the new one at all.
I have.
What are they like?
I love the sound of the Suzuki. I can't remember what is it, K5? No, that'd be too early. But the engine was great, and he does hark back to his Katana heritage. But having ridden the original, you can't beat it. You can't. Right,
gotcha. I tell you, I took out the new GSX S1000 last week. Okay. Have you ridden that yet?
No. Talk to me.
Gobsmacked. Awesome. For a road bike, it was freaking amazing. Really was fun. An inline 4, but I had loads of grunt low down and then top end as well. Once you get it north of 10,000 revs, it was beautiful. Really good. I don't know what it would be like on the track, but on the road, it was just real usable power and so much fun. And it's only like 10 grand. I think it's 10,999, I think it is, which for a litre bike, that's not bad these days.
Yeah, it's tidy. I don't find myself that inspired by inline 4s, which is silly really that I race an R6, but it's reliable and it works and you spend most of your time 11, 14 grand anyway, so that's how you're going to run it.
Where they live,
I don't see myself owning one. I've got the Super Sport in the garage and it's just the twin grunt that's become even more obvious to me now, having ridden the R6 on track. I just prefer the thump of them. It's just I think it's personal preference, obviously.
I'm exactly the same. Yeah, I mean, I was always a Gixxer man in line 4, but the second you try something else, whether it's the triple, the twin, V4, whatever it is, you try an engine with character, and you get that low down grunt, and it's just something different, isn't it?
And it's perfect for the road. I think that
absolutely
has its place. But if you want to just punch through traffic or get somewhere quickly in local bends, then you want a twin or equivalent.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see, and Suzuki seem to be smashing it with their inline 4s. Mm-hmm. The Hayabusa, that has real workable power, believe it or not.
Of course. But of course it does, because it's just that big.
But I mean, you kind of think a lot of inline 4 engines, as we just said, there's nothing low down, but the new Suzuki inline 4s, they seem to have real nice workable power low down, which is great for the road. It's not, you can't compare it to the V4s and the twins and stuff, but it's better than most of the other inline 4s that I've tried.
Yeah, and then fundamentally cheaper, within reason. Obviously not compared to a twin, but you can keep the cost down by not making it a V4.
Absolutely. That's us all the questions. We've gone through them all. Thank you very much, folks, for dropping your questions. Really do appreciate it. Lara, before we head off, this is your opportunity, really. Just, do you want to give any shout outs? Is there anything you want to chat about? Any sponsors you want to big up?
Yes, I do. And I'm trying to see if I'd made a note of them, because you think I would with like my admin. Yeah, so I think I just owe a massive shout out to Matt Emery. So he's at Memory Art 802 on Insta. I couldn't remember his handle at the time. And I'm just grateful for him putting me in touch with you. So thank you, Bruce. And also I'm grateful to you for just your time, offering your time to me. My like Insta count and YouTube count went up for whatever reason. I was like, oh, that's quite cool. That helps me feel like I was making progress. But I'm shouting out to you, Bruce. So thank you for considering and spending your time with me. And then I'm always going to say thanks to Knox and Fuchs Silkeling, because they've just constantly squared me away. And I do some social media posts for them, but both Knox and Fuchs have got this really lovely like family attitude, and I just feel looked after by them, and I can't swear by their products, so it's a huge win. And then a shout out to Pete Bose at the Champions Flat Track School and Aidan Collins with the Ride and Skid It School, because I didn't think I could have that much fun on riding in an actual circle. But you learn so much with so little power that you can respect it and use it, and it's just paid off huge dividends in the racing scene. And then I also a thanks to Sam, or Sam's Dyno, because my R6 was in shit state when I gave it to him, and he's fixed it, and I've won races on it now, so I'm really buzzing. And I think the final one is probably a thank you to my other half for just putting up with me, because I talk about the three parts of my life and somehow I fit him in between, and I'm grateful for that.
Well, from me, thank you very much for the shout out. It's greatly appreciated. I'm just sorry it's taken so long to get in touch with you and get you on here. I love what you do. I love your enthusiasm for biking. It's infectious. It's awesome to see, and wish you the very best with your racing, with the army, with the work life, and with the home life as well. It's been an absolute joy chatting with you, and hopefully we'll get to meet up in person and have a beer or do something.
I'm going to get you flat tracking. That's my next goal.
Right, you're on. And I'll sort the thing out for you as well. We'll get all that sorted. Folks, if you aren't yet following Lara, then I will leave all her social links down below. So if you listen to the podcast, check out the show notes. If you're watching the video, have a look at the description and make sure you give her a like, a follow, a subscribe, all the rest of it. Are you on TikTok?
I am not, no.
No, gotta get on TikTok. All the kids are on TikTok. I've just joined TikTok. I think I'm the only person that isn't like showing their ass and their boobs on TikTok, but I'm on TikTok. I'm not saying I'll never do it, but I'm not doing it yet. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But anyway, I'm on it. Folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. Make sure you give Lara a follow. Make sure you keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there and live your life. Woo-ha! Awesome. So there's nothing to worry about with that.
That was mega, Bruce.